Hey guys, it's Richie, and I'm here to do a track guide for the Sea Open at Circuit of America. Which I haven't been doing the trucks, so this will be my first truck um, track guide. So the first thing I'm going to do is this is Sea Open. I am not doing a Sea Fix, so I'm doing a Sea Open, and I'm not going to do what setup I'm using. You guys can use whatever setup you're going to want to use. I'm just going to try to give you some kind of an idea of how I'm getting around the racetrack. As far as the weather is concerned for this particular run, I used actually dynamic weather, and the weather came out to partly cloudy, 71 degrees, 119-degree track temperature, southwest wind at 8 mile an hour with a relative humidity of 59%. So, since I use dynamic weather, um, you may pick up a little time, may lose a little time. I'm not too concerned about what the speed is here, what your time is, so much as how you feel on the racetrack and how you get around the racetrack. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to ride around in an in car. I'm going to follow it around, kind of give you some heads up and stuff, and then we'll dive into specifics on the specific corner. So right here, we're going to start coming in for our lap, and like I said, we're going to ride with me for the entire lap. So the start finish line right there. We coming up to third to fourth. This is actually the start line, whereas where we finish is completely different. So uphill to turn one, all the way down to gear number one, back up to two, and we want to shift to three before we get into this right-hander right here. Before we get into the S's. We're going to hit through the S's here. This is a very flowing section of the racetrack. It's important to note that every exit flows into the next entry in that part. So not getting over really aggressive through this section right here. This is also a very flowing section. So not getting too overly aggressive and overdriving the car is very key through those particular moments. You see I got a little loose coming around that corner right there. Through 10, down into 11. One of the first hairpin, actually the second hairpin, before we get onto the long back stretch. Very tight corner right there, a lot of overtaking that'll happen right there. Down the long back straight here, up to fourth gear. 150, 160 miles an hour before the next hairpin, where we have to get on the brakes and make another sharp left-handed turn. So it's very important when you're downshifting with these trucks to give it a little bit of gas. Even right here, where I'm downshifting to first, you got to give it gas as you shift. Otherwise, you'll actually get the car or truck out of shape when you're downshifting. Wheel hop is a definite issue with the trucks. Wheel hopping both under brakes and wheel hopping actually on downshift. So as you can see, nice and smooth around here. Coming into the last two corners of the lap. Downshift to second. Cut across there. Pit road is off to your left right there. Down in the first to take the last corner before the finish line, which again is different than the start finish line. So that is a lap at COTA. So now let's break that down into a little bit more detail for you. All right, guys, let's take a look at a lap in a little bit more in depth. So we're gonna start coming out of that last corner. We're gonna start second gear, third gear, fourth gear, all the way up to, as we go up here, up the hill here. So I actually start to lift and brake right around here, and unfortunately, there's really no mark on the ground. There used to be, but I can't seem to find it. A lot of people may use this up here. See how that grass kind of is a different color. There's also a little bit of dirt patch on the ground on the actual racing surface right there. So anywhere between here and that dirt patch actually is more than fine of braking. So you're going to hit the brakes really hard. You're going to downshift from fourth to third to second, and then ultimately down the first as we get down into turn one, which is one of 3 sharp corners on the racetrack. You'll see that the nice even line, you want to go over the curve, but not the yellow part. Make the corner as easily as possible. Don't need to go out wide, too wide. You can if you want to use up some track, but you don't have to. It's important to note that you'll be in first gear here. Anytime you're in first gear on the racetrack, there's the possibility of you spinning the tires and spinning out. So I always try to short shift first gear to second gear and never get full throttle in first gear. You'll see right here that I am not full throttle. And then that was me shifting to second, full throttle in second, shifting to, we're going to shift to third as we get down into turn 2 right here. And then coast through turn 2 in third gear. Throttle all the way up, and then this is the part of the flowing section of COTA. So it's very important that you have to link every single corner through the next section here. And what I mean by link is that you want your exit of one corner to lead directly into the entry of the next corner. If you overshoot a corner, you're going to screw up not only the overshoot of the first corner, but the entry of the second corner. If you screw up the entry of one corner and screwed up the exit of that corner, you'll mess up the next one. So this is a very flowing part of the track, and it's important not to overdrive it and to make sure that everything links from one corner to another. I'm going to go through here super slow motion. So you go through here, and then again, you do not want to hit these yellow curbs. They will completely throw your car off track and out. But you want to get to as close to them as possible. I was in third gear as I'm going through here, and you can see I'm using a little bit of brake. But then as I come through around this corner up here, sometimes a little before, sometimes right at, I will downshift to second. And I don't use a whole lot of brake for the rest of this particular section. Through here, nice and flow. Out of this corner is aiming towards the end of the next corner. Again, we're going to apex at that yellow bump. The exit of this is going to flow directly into the entry of the next one. And then this next section, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the apex here. We're going to kind of come out a little bit wide, but stay down on the inside of the racetrack because this is just basically a wide corner. Even though I think it's considered 2 completely different corners, it's still one big, you want to make it as one corner. Stay towards the middle of the racetrack here, and then actually come back towards the right a little bit so that you can make a nice, easy entry into the next corner. And you need to probably slow down a little bit for here. Again, apex right at that turtle or bump. You want to come through here, stay again in the middle of the racetrack while giving it a little bit of throttle to get to the next corner, a little bit of brake. And then we're going to turn in early for this corner. And one of the cool things about this corner is you can get down with your right sides onto the right part of the racetrack, almost to where you're actually off the racing surface. When you do that, it allows you to get a straighter shot to this corner here, which again, the apex is that yellow bump. We come through here. I think I get a little loose here because I pick up the throttle a little too much too early. Yep, a little loose. Track out. You're in second gear. It's important to note you're in second gear through that entire section from where I told you that I downshift to second gear through all that. Once you get out of this particular corner, you full throttle it, and then you're going to get up to third gear as quickly as you can. Then we're going to come down here, and right where this particular curbing starts is where I brake. Boom, brake. That's an easy mark on the racetrack. One of the only ones on the racetrack, which is good. From third to second, all the way down to first gear. You want to take it a little bit wide here, and then use that apex. Again, never hit the yellow bumps. They will destroy your entire coach truck. Track out as wide as you can. Again, first gear, 3/4 throttle, short shift to second, up to third, and then fourth down the big long straightaway right here. This is a very important part of the racetrack. You want to get out of that last corner as good as you can so you can get as much speed down this straightaway as you possibly can. So all the way down here again, fourth gear, and my braking point for the next corner is going to be right here, right there. So what I'm looking for on the side over here is this light right here, right? So it's after I think it's 250. That's 250 marker right there. There's a light right here. And I use that light as my marker of where to brake with the truck. Boom, brake. Now, heavy braking. Downshift to third. You got to give it gas to get into this. As you downshift here, downshift to second right there. And then as we get closer to the corner, because you don't want to get into first too quickly here, or you'll wheel hop. But down into first, out wide, apex over the curb right here as we turn in. And you'll note, again, I'm in first gear, and I am not going to give it full throttle here, because otherwise you'll be spinning all over the place. First gear to second gear, right there. Now, the next part of the racetrack is probably the hardest part of the racetrack, the hardest part of the course. The reason being is that it feels, to me, very awkward. It doesn't flow very well. There's no grip on the racetrack at all, and you're in first and second gear, which makes it very slippery. So, as I said, I've gotten up to second gear at this particular point, going into this corner up here. Now, some people tell you that to go into this corner up here in second gear. I do not. And the reason why I specifically don't is that when you go into this corner in second gear, the truck gets tight, and you have to slow down an awful lot to make the corner, to be able to make the corner with that tightness. And then you're a little bit sluggish as you get to the middle part that we'll get to. I downshift to first. Now, if you downshift to first here, it is imperative to make sure that you wait to the last minute, and when you do, you give enough throttle to not upset the truck when you get down into that higher gear. You want the throttle up, the RPMs up, so that when the first gear engages, it doesn't spin the truck out. So we're going to go through this section right here. I brake just past. So you got this guy right here with his red ends. I do brake quite a bit, a little bit past that, but right around where that red ends on the side is when I brake. So I just downshifted to first, which allows me to turn in down here, following the yellow bump, not hitting the bump, but just up to it. Track out wide, because this is, again, even though they consider it two corners, it's one big. If you do it like this, it's one big sweeping track, big sweeping corner. So upshift to second. As you come through here, you want to hit the one side over here, and then you actually do not want to hit the corner over here. You actually want to come out kind of wide out here as I downshift to first right here, because you want to get a nice big wide arc into here. So you're giving up, let me go back here. So you're giving up the apex here, because if you apex here, you're not going to get a good enough run into the corner over here. So you're going out wide here so that you can have a nice turn to hit across this section right here, and be able to get out as straight as possible here. Again, first gear, never full throttle in first gear, short shift to second gear, right there. And actually, I did get to full throttle first gear, which means I probably spun the tires a little bit. So we get over to here. Again, we're only getting to the middle of the racetrack there. You don't want to go all the way out. You want to go to the middle of the racetrack. And then what we're going to do is we're going to shift to third before we get in here, right there. And then our goal is to hit the rumble strips here and the rumble strips here, and not go all the way out. You can if you want to, but if you don't, it's probably better, because you want to keep it as low as possible to that point. And you'll note that I'm in third gear, and I'm nowhere near full throttle here as I go through here, right? Truck will get really loose as it comes through this corner. Third gear kind of helps that a little bit, but again, it's not a full throttle corner. It's a 3/4 throttle, half throttle kind of corners. We go through here. So again, track out as little as you can there. You see the truck, I'm fighting the truck, it gets a little loose. You come back down here to the rumble strips down here. And right around here, you can start to try to get full throttle. You may or may not get to it, depending on how that corner went. You can see I'm kind of loose there. I do finally get the full throttle. And then I lift for the next corner up here where these rumble strips end. So right now we're in third gear. I hit the brake heavy in the brakes, downshift to second. And then what we can do here is normally I've told you through this whole run to not use or hit the yellow. This is the only time that you can actually do it. For whatever reason, this particular corner is not an issue. You can actually go over that yellow right there with no issue. Help cut the corner a little bit, track out. You're still in second gear and full throttle. So now the last corner up here, again, there's two thoughts of how to get through here. Actually three. Some people will tell you to shift to third, then shift down to second. Some people will tell you to stay in second and then stay in second in the last corner. I particularly will stay in second and then I downshift to first in the corner. So again, I can only tell you how I do it. There is thought either way on it. There's something better than the other. For me, it's whatever makes you more comfortable. So second gear, full throttle. I go just past that sign right there before I hit the brake pretty heavy. Wait a little bit, because again, anytime you're going into first gear, you want to make sure that the truck is slowing down enough. Rev into first gear. Then we come across the rumble strips right there. Nice and smooth. Track out to the bottom of the racetrack. In first gear again, 3/4 throttle. And then we're going to short shift to second. And that is a lap at Circuit of Americas with the COTA truck. So the main thing that you need to keep to remember here is twofold. Two things. First one is, a couple things. First one is when you're downshifting after heavy braking, make sure that you match your RPMs so you don't wheel hop your truck. If that happens, you can actually give your truck a little throttle to bring the RPMs up, and it'll actually stop the wheel hopping from happening. So match your RPMs on your downshifts. Second one is don't wheel hop on braking. Make sure you're not charging the corners too far that you're over braking the corner and you're wheel hopping and missing the corners. And then I guess the third thing is just to be as smooth as possible with your truck on the racetrack, especially through the flowing parts. That's it. This may be a quickie video. As far as qualifying is concerned, do exactly what we just did on this racetrack. And if you have a qualifying setup, if you do exactly what we just went over, qualifying setup, you will be faster. It's just the way it is. There's not much you can do outside of what I've gone over here with a qualifying setup. So anyway, with that, have fun at COTA. I actually like the track. I'm probably one of the few people that do. But again, have fun. Practice, and like and subscribe if you can. And everybody have a great day.